Looking for a reason to try the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the price makes 5.
So much.
That's everything you get with the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's.
Choose PrimeStar Home Health. We'll provide the best care for your patient or loved one. From managing chronic conditions to wound care and therapy, we specialize in a wide range of services. PrimeStar Home Health. We have the skill to heal and the spirit to care. Choose PrimeStar Home Health. We'll provide the best care for your patient or loved one. From managing chronic conditions to wound care and therapy, we specialize in a wide range of services. PrimeStar Home Health. We have the skill to heal and the spirit to care.
Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to the Coaches Show brought to us by PrimeStar Home Health. I'm Ben Hackler here with Coach Lee Doty. And, Coach, how's your week been so far, and what's your thoughts tonight?
Yeah, we've had a good week this week, had a fall break last week, so been a little different for practices and everything, but also got some rest with our kids, and so it's been good, man. We didn't have school yesterday, had ACT today, so kids are probably ready to get back into the building tomorrow.
I'm sure they are, Coach. I feel confident that they are ready to get back into class,
right?
For sure. But Coach, we got a lot to talk about tonight. A couple ball games. We didn't have Coach's Show last week, just with fall break and things going on. So we want to talk briefly about the Richwood game. And, of course, we'll talk about North Webster and get set for this Friday night's matchup as well. But, Coach, tonight, before we get kind of into those games, you've led your team to a 4-3 record and got through that non-district schedule that really looks really good now, watching how good those teams have been. You've got 2 wins in a row after that tough loss to Neville. How do you feel right now with where this team is with just 3 games left?
Yeah, I feel really good about us. I think we're coming together as a team and starting to get some of our injury bugs, out of the way and getting a lot of folks back and having fun at practice. It's a little pep in our step and, just excited about what's ahead of us.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, tonight, let's jump into our McDonald's Senior Spotlight with Miss Jennifer Thomas is here. And I know we've got several folks to recognize from the 2 weeks the week that we missed. And so I'll turn it over to you, and let's talk about those seniors tonight.
All right, our captains for Richwood last week was Aiden Parker, Gavin Evans, and Hagan Herring. If you guys will come on up.
I believe Aiden had to step out for a minute, Coach.
Okay.
We'll catch you back in a minute.
We'll catch him up here in a minute. Ain't no problem right here. Both these guys are doing a great job. Our backfield we've talked about that all year about how good our backs are. And these guys, showed out the other night again. So we appreciate Gavin and Hagan. We think they're very good players and look forward to them having a strong finish for the season. These are our captains versus Richwood. Let's give them another hand. Thank you, guys. And our captains for North Webster, they've already been recognized as Senior Spotlight, was Travis Adam and David Roach. We do have a young man that we had as captain a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't able to make a show, Aiden Lingfelt. Aiden, come on up this way. We got your bag for you too, so take care of getting Aiden hooked up. So Aiden plays defensive end for us and is doing a heck of a job, and we're excited about Aiden and hopefully get some time out of him this week and see what he can get done out there. So we appreciate you, Aiden. Thank you.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
And here's Aiden Parker. Those kickers, they're different. And he wanted his own time here. So
that's right. You want a microphone?
But anyway, Aiden's done a heck of a job for us. And we watched him. I was watching him punt today in practice. And just to have a leg like that's a blessing. And he's doing a heck of a job. Let's give Aiden another big round of applause here. Thank you, Aiden.
Yeah, coaches, we talk about the punts. It's one of those things that's great to have, but you really don't want to see very
right.
often.
You don't want to see it 4 or 5 times a quarter, do you?
No, absolutely not. Well, Coach, let's talk just briefly about the Richwood game. You guys come out 34-6 winners, I believe, and really kind of had a slow start there to the beginning of that. But second half, you guys come out and finish it off. Just looking back real quickly, I want to talk more about North Webster just because it's the freshest. But looking back to the Richwood game, what were some things that kind of stood out to you? And then even the slow start, what kind of can you contribute that to?
Well, after the way we lost to the Neville game and how hard we played and how inspired our guys were played, it was obviously going to be a letdown against Richwood. Yeah. Emotionally, you just can't get up all the time. And, I could tell our kids were, kind of had their spirit broken a little bit when we lost to Neville. And give Richwood credit too. I mean, they had an off week before they played us, and they had practice, had a good plan, got together, and they had a turnover early, and we scored, and then later on, we scored again, and it seems like every time we get a chance to go up 3 touchdowns, we always have a miscue in there right now, and I'm hoping we're going to correct that. And but anyway, our kids just kept fighting and hung in there and got a win, and it was badly needed win after the losses we'd had. So was proud of them and thought our kids played hard. We just didn't execute very well. Yeah.
Well, Coach, it's always great to start district play 1-0 and get that kind of off of you and moving forward, which sets you up coming into this Friday night. Another team that really had kind of struggled in the season. I was looking back today, and I didn't realize this. We said on the air they were 1-5 coming in, but that one win, I believe, was a forfeit. And so they really had not won a ball game and really kind of struggled through the year. But like you said, when you and I talked last week, a lot of speed. They showed that, some backs that can move and guys that can run. But your Panthers come up big Friday night, 49-0. You get to shut out against those guys. And opposed to the Richwood game, your guys really seemed to came in and were locked in, ready to go. What was the difference between those 2 weeks?
I think having the fall break where we could come in, bring our kids in, spend a little more time with them, have longer film meetings with them, and just kind of have a different type of practice atmosphere. And, I think it was good for our kids. I think it was the right opponent for that week as well. But, man, those guys can run.
Yeah.
I mean, 22, 4, 6, 2. I mean, they all those guys can run. And I was really proud of our kids defensively, maintaining the edge against them, especially in the second half. And we made a few adjustments. Mark and them they made some great adjustments. And we just ran to the ball really well and tackled when we got there. I think offense, we didn't punt. I don't believe the other night.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, as you said. And but I thought we had a good game plan, and I thought our kids had fun and went out and played together.
Yeah. Well, Coach, let's talk some about the specifics of that. Offensively, it was a big night on the ground. You had 334 yards rushing. Of course, Hagan led all rushers with 143 yards, and Gavin had 4 touchdowns. I think he only had 39 yards, but he got within the 5-yard line. It was almost cash money for him that night. And you mentioned this a moment ago when we recognized those 2 guys. We're finally getting healthy in the running back room. Between the running backs and fullbacks, you've gotten healthy. How does that impact the game when you have all your guys?
Well, I mean, you keep fresh legs, for us. And, when you run the ball as many times as we do, we like to have fresh legs. And having Hagan back, of course, gave us that home run threat. And but Gavin has a nose for the goal line. TJ and, Carter came in, played really well. And, it's great to have some backs like that. It really is.
Well, Coach, one of the questions that kind of comes out of that now that everybody's kind of getting healthy is how do you get the most out of those guys? Each one kind of has a little bit different skill level of what they're really good at. How do you make sure that you're getting the most out of them?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of communication with them, and because there's only one football,
right?
And you got 4 guys and they want it every play, which I appreciate, and so you got to communicate with them and let them know this is the part of the game we're going to need you in. This is why we need you, and this is what we need you to do, and encourage them. And, I think Coach Buffington does a good job with that with our running backs, and trusting the system and trust the process, and I think we're doing fine. I mean, could they carry the ball 20 times each? Probably so, but I mean, it's a line in there that you want everybody fresh for the playoffs,
Right?
And you don't want your backs beat up by giving them the ball 30 times a game.
Yeah. Well, Coach, your offensive line was also close to full strength. We're not quite there. Got a couple guys still trying to get to that place, but probably as much at full strength as we've been since week 2, I believe, when we went over to Ouachita. What were your thoughts on the play of those guys? And it really seemed like from where we were sitting, they really controlled the line of scrimmage all night long.
Well, we had some big surges, and from the sideline, watching those guys knock guys back is fun, and of course, we always blow some things and we give up some big plays in the backfield, but all that's really coming together. I don't think we've started the same 6 guys on the offensive line yet. I think maybe Friday night will be the first time we started the same 6, and then hopefully next week Sean's going to be back, and he's looked good in practice this week, and I talked with him before practice, and this guy's a senior, and we may get him in some this week if he feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Right now he's PTing and getting treatment, and he took about half the reps yesterday and took about half to 60% today. So he wants to play, and if we can get him in this Friday night, if we feel good about it, then we're going to go ahead and let him roll some.
Yeah. And Coach, a lot of people don't realize too, sometimes an injury is not just coming back from the injury, it's the conditioning that you've missed. He's been in a boot now for I think 4 weeks or 5. And
he's been out. He's been out all year.
Yeah.
Since week 1. So he hasn't had any time to condition, but his motor is going to run just fine, and he ain't got to come in and play the whole game. So we got some time to play himself into shape.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, defensively, you're bragging on your guys a moment ago. You get a shutout against the Knights 2 years in a row. Even with all those athletes, you give up 130 yards on offense. And as you look back on that, what were some things that stood out to you about your defense? You mentioned the gang tackling or team tackling a moment ago. What else stood out to you about your defensive performance?
They didn't throw the ball a whole lot, but when they did, we had guys covered up. I keep talking about our secondary, how much better it's getting. Hickman had the big interception there, and but I think we're getting better back there on the back end. We're playing a lot of kids. We have 11 kids that are starting, but we're playing 16, 17 kids in different packages. Our defensive staff's doing a really good job putting some things together. This week they've done some good things, putting some things together to get fresh people on the field. So, I'm really excited about where we're at.
Yeah, Coach, for the offense of North Webster, we really expected, or I expected, and I talked to you guys and thought it was kind of the same thing. We thought they were going to run that kind of double pistol with the I formation out of the gun, but they come out in the 2-back under center. Had you seen that on film, or was that something that was kind of a wrinkle for them?
No, they I guess they completely changed their offense, and during the week, and our guys was watching them warm up, and Coach Carr came over there and said, man, they're under center running wing T stuff. And Mark, goes into, we got to fix it mode. And,
yeah.
He has the defense in there meeting before, the game in a 10-minute coach them up session, and try to line up against that. And of course, at this point in the season, you've seen just about every formation, known to man. So, but our kids did a good job, man. They just want to go play football and, don't want to have to think a lot, just want to run to the ball and tackle. And, I think over the last several weeks, we've really adjusted the defense to where they can do that.
Yeah. Coach, definitely your linebackers flow through the ball a lot, and defensive line opens that up for them. And then guys like Aiden Lingfeld and Cam Bagwell getting in the backfield to the quarterback. And a few times they try to throw the football. But I want to talk about your secondary just for a moment, because those guys, I think probably – as a whole, one of the most improved units, and maybe they had the furthest to go, but one of the most improved units over the course of the season. And how does when they play well, what does that do for your whole defense when the back end is secure?
Well, I mean, it gives, our kids have confidence in each other. And I think it allows us to make calls that if we get picked up on the blitz, we feel like we're going to be okay in the back end. And also we don't have to blitz every play to get to the quarterback, play some coverage stuff. But we moved Travis and Hickman to corners, and now, Sam back to safety, and Keenan Green's playing safety. Hollingsworth's playing some safety. And Jalen Bush is playing some corner for us. And, that was a good move, I think, on Mark and him's part, because Travis and Hickman play a lot of offense. And it's just easier to play corner than it is safety. And that allows them to go retain offensive plays and also be able to line up. So that's helped us out too. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but yeah, we're proud of them.
Good. Well, Coach, one of the units we don't talk a lot about, but has done a good job this year, has been in special teams. Of course, Coach R.J. Harrison kind of doing that. And then Friday night, Aiden had several kickoffs for touchbacks. And then when he didn't do that, great coverage by your guys getting downfield. And I know that for a lot of the young guys that get to play special teams, sometimes it's like, hey, this is the only role I get to have. And they don't realize that for you guys, a lot of times special teams is a place that players emerge. I think about a Cam Bagwell last year, for example, a kid that just special teams was his highlight, and then now contributing on the defensive line. Can you talk a moment just about the job that Coach R.J. Harrison does with those guys and how important it is to your team?
Yeah, he does an excellent job. And, he runs meetings with special teams. He runs the practice part of it. And, we run ideas by each other, but look, it's his baby. And, our kickoff coverage has been really good. I mean, it's always great when we kick it in the end zone, always great. And, our kickoff return, we've just been so close to popping one. And, field goals, extra points been good. And so we're getting there, and we're using some really young guys out in those spots, and they're taking to it. And it's fun watching a young guy run down the field and make a tackle on kickoff.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really is.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, one of the weapons you showed, or I guess Aiden showed a little bit on Friday night that I had not seen before, was a kickoff with backspin that hit about the 1 yard line and just dives right there. Did you guys coach that up? Was that contributed to you guys?
No. I'd like to take credit for that, but then I'd have to take credit for us not the one jumping on the ball. So we're just going to call that one a wash.
There we go. Well, Coach, I know you said a moment ago don't have players of the week for the Richwood game, but Friday night against North Webster, who were your players of the week? And again, that's brought to us by First Security, Tyler Monroe, and Mr. Mitch Houston.
Well, we had a lot of folks that were, stood out for us, but Hagan Herring on offense, I think he had 143 yards, a touchdown, and on 8 or 9 carries.
Yeah.
And the big play, that's the most explosive play we've had this year. So, Hagan, come on up, man. You're the player of the week on offense for us.
With a mouthful of hamburger.
Yep. That's all right, too. And then on defense, this guy he's not going to jump out on stats or anything, but he plays defensive end. He plays defensive tackle. He lines up at nose. He lines up at linebacker. He lines up at money. Every week I hear Mark say, you got to know all these spots. Jaden Hall, come on up. And, this is what that guy does. And never complains. Is always 100%, plays his butt off, hustles. If you will watch him, it's just amazing energy he plays with. So these are our players of the week, and we're mighty proud of them, and let's keep getting them, boys. Appreciate you.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Again, that's our players of the week brought to us by First Security, Tyler Monroe, and Mr. Mitch Houston. And, Coach, that's going to do it for our talk about North Webster. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and we'll be right back with more of the Coach's Show in just a moment.
Choose PrimeStar Home Health. We'll provide the best care for your patient or loved one. From managing chronic conditions to wound care and therapy, we specialize in a wide range of services. PrimeStar Home Health. We have the skill to heal and the spirit to care. Choose PrimeStar Home Health. We'll provide the best care for your patient or loved one. From managing chronic conditions to wound care and therapy, we specialize in a wide range of services. PrimeStar Home Health. We have the skill to heal and the spirit to care.
The grass is always greener on the other side when you call the Shaw Enough Green Team. For any weed control, fertilization, or aerating needs in your yard, trees, and shrubs. They'll sure enough make a difference at Shaw Enough Green.
Well, folks, we're back with the PrimeStar Home Health Coaches Show. And, Coach, last week's in the books. This week, the Panthers are on the road to take on the Bastrop Rams. And I know you're a big fan of Coach Tank Washington up there, and he's done a great job and really beginning to establish a new culture for that program. They're off to a 5-2 start, but did come off a big loss last week to Carroll, 21-7. And, Coach, a lot of folks have had this game circled for all kinds of reasons, but I saw your quote with Jake Martin this morning. I believe the article came out this morning, and you said we play games, not names. And no secret to anybody that's watching tonight, a couple of our guys from last year now playing over there. How do you help your kids focus on the game itself and not all the talk about the names and people who aren't here anymore?
Well, I think, you've been at practice a lot, and I know you've heard me say that this is the most important game on the schedule because it's the next game. Right. And, we play them one at a time, and, we played Neville and all these guys, and we just focus on ourselves during the prep for that week, and we learn how to line up against that, but our focus on trying to get better for us that week. Our biggest opponent is us sometimes. So, we're trying to focus on getting right and getting better and playing hard. And we don't put a whole lot of focus on, who's playing this position or who's playing that position. And, I think our kids understand the mission this week is to go out here and play hard and try to get a victory.
Well, Coach, as you've looked at Bastrop on film, what are some things? I mean, it's some new players over there and some people in different positions. What are your thoughts on this year's squad at Bastrop?
Well, I think they've improved since last year, for sure. They got some big, good-looking kids on the offensive line and defensive line. And, I do like their linebackers. I think they're pretty good players for sure. But they look like that all the time, it seems like, and Tank's kind of got them organized and playing a little bit harder. And, it's going to be a real challenge for us.
Coach, offensively, they're going to bring the full spread in. It looks like they want to throw the ball several times a game. Of course, they have added Antron Mason in the backfield, and I get confused. There's junior, and then there's the second. I get confused. I believe it's the second that's in the backfield. But as you defensively, as you approach that spread, kind of what are the keys for your defense, and how do you approach that?
Well, our thing is just keep everything in front of us and make them line up and snap the ball 10 times, to score, and try not to give up the big play. I mean, we have, they probably going to get us a couple times because we're aggressive on defense, but, just don't get into a big play showdown. And, they throw the ball about 63% of the time. So, they're going to throw it, slinging around. We just got to be ready. And I thought the kids did a really good job today of practicing against stuff. So, we'll see how it goes.
Well, Coach, in your practice with your scout team, how do you mimic what they show you at wide receiver? Because there are a lot of athletes at wide receiver for them.
Well, I mean, some things you just can't mimic. I mean, if you don't have a guy that runs 4.2, you can't mimic 4.2 speed. But today we went fast and, in a pass scale thing, and got our guys used to coming on and off the field. And, it was ones-on-ones out there. And, I thought it was a good practice session today.
Well, Coach, defense is in the same scheme you've seen before, and you've had success against it in the past. But what stands out to you? You mentioned their linebacker play. What do you see from their defense?
Well, we kind of really don't know what to expect. They got a new defense coordinator, and we think we'll get some 5-3 and some 4-3, and some zone coverage, some man coverage. So we just kind of preparing for everything. But again, at this point in time, you've kind of seen it all. Yeah. And so our kids are focused on doing their job. And I think if we can do that, we're going to be fine.
Coach, I know a lot of times people end up putting 5 down and putting 8 in the box against us. From an offensive scheme standpoint, like what do you look at on that for where you're going to attack it and where the advantage may be?
Well, I mean, you may put 8 in the box, but, are all 8 of those guys all district players, and you got to find that guy. And even when you got 5 down linemen, there's going to be a bubble somewhere. Yeah. And you got to get it in the right play, and you got to get it in the hands of the right person. And, if you will ever come and stand behind our linebackers when we're scrimmaging each other and watch our offense, it just happens really quick. And, they're going to have a hard time mimicking that, right, at their place. So, we're planning on getting after it, man. It's going to be a fun game.
Well, Coach, from an offensive standpoint, what are kind of the things you focused on with your team this week? Hey, these are the keys for our offense, so we'll make sure we're doing this each series.
not turning the ball over is huge. And we're okay ending every drive with a kick, where it's a punt or an extra point. That's okay. We just don't want to give up any easy things with a turnover, deeper in that territory, or even turning it over going into the end zone. And, turnovers are key for us anyway, and not getting behind the sticks where, you're sitting there, now it's 1st and 20.
Yeah.
And now a 4-yard gain doesn't mean very much. But if it's 1st and 10 and now it's 2nd and 6, we can roll.
Right.
So not getting behind the chains and those things, and just still trying to find some depth, So if you have a guy that's not getting done what you need to get done, get him out and get him over there and get him coached up. And I feel like we're really close to that.
Well, Coach, I've asked you this every week, so I want to ask you again today. Is there a specific area that when you get to the end of Friday night and we're back at the field house or in the auxiliary gym field house,
secondary's got a lot to prove. As much as they've improved, I think they have something to prove. And they've been challenged this week. They'll be challenged Friday night. And they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good. And if they're good, then we're good.
Well, Coach, good luck this week as you head down over to Bastrop to take on the Rams. Ball game starts at 7 p.m. We'll have the coaches show for you right here on YouTube at 6:45. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. And, man, I saw our quarterback club, I thought, did a great thing this week, just pushing fans to come on out to Bastrop. It really is a great environment for high school football, Coach. We went over there last year. It's a great stadium, a great place to kind of be and to play, but I'd love to see our stands filled up. And what does it mean on the road? Let me ask you that before we close this off. What does it mean on the road when your fans are either equal to or greater than the home fans?
We're spoiled. I mean, we usually have that.
Yeah.
And we're spoiled about that, and we appreciate our fans. And, I think the product on the field is getting better, and I think our fans want to see us getting better, and I think our fans want to see us make a run. And getting some guys back this week has been huge for us. So it's going to be a great environment, and I know our fans will do their part.
Absolutely. Well, fans, if you can't make it, you can catch us right here on YouTube Friday night. Coach, final words before we sign off tonight?
Hey, I'm looking forward to a great game, looking forward to a big crowd. I know our kids will be excited because, it's the next game on the schedule, and we're going to get after it and go see what happens. And as always, go Panthers.
Well, Panther fans, that's going to do it tonight for the PrimeStar Home Health Coaches Show. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you Friday night at Bastrop, 7 o'clock.
Down in the bayou where the waters flow, Louisiana Launchpad puts on a show. Digital marketing, their expertise, bringing Southern grit to the online seas. Web design, video production too, they do it all just for you. Come on down and join the fun. Louisiana Launchpad, second to none. Google Ads, podcast production, they'll take your brand to a whole new function. Southern charm with a digital twist. Louisiana Launchpad, you can't resist.